Okay, good afternoon. Hi guys, thanks for watching. Myself and Helen are youth workers. We currently work for the Early Intervention and Psychosis team based in Derby. Hope you enjoy our presentation, our discussion. So the first question is, how did you get into your present job? I'll leave that with you, Helen, to start with.
Well, it might have been better if you started, because it was through you that I became a youth worker. 20 plus years ago, I was in a committee and we needed something for the young people on our estate to do. So we got the youth service involved. And that's where I met Mark. And I kept saying to him, "This looks really good. Could you let me know when something happens?" And he said yes. So from that, I ended up getting a 3-hour contract along with doing the NVQ level 3 in youth work. From there, I did an awful lot of different things within the youth service, and at one point it was up to 64 hours a week. Unfortunately, because times had changed and funding was cut, the youth service slowly and gradually disappeared. Luckily, in that time, Mark let me know about a job that came up within the early intervention service for a youth and community worker. And I applied, and yay, I got it after Mark had told them that I was as crazy as a box of frogs.
Or similar words anyway. Maybe I didn't use quite that phrase, but yeah, it's about being a people person, isn't it? I guess.
It's definitely a people person. It's about empathy as well, and showing that you've got something about you that young people can relate to.
Yeah.
Mark, how did you get into this?
That's a very long story. So basically, when I left school, I'm actually a painter and decorator by trade. So I spent some years working on building sites. Then I had a 15-year stint working at Rolls-Royce, which wasn't really my thing. So I left. I did a part-time job, and in the start of the university term in 1999, I went to University of Derby and studied youth and community studies. I had actually wanted to be a social worker, but at the time, I was not allowed to go on the course because I didn't have enough accrued hours of working as a volunteer. So I ended up going to university and really enjoyed the challenge. I went in with the lowest qualifications of everyone. I did 3 years at night school. I did a sociology GCSE. I did a sociology A level. And I did a psychology GCSE. And for me, these are core qualifications of being a youth and community worker. The study of society and the study of the individual and how people operate within different contexts. So I basically finished my degree in 2003. I ended up working at Asda for a long time because I couldn't get a full-time job. But whilst I was working at Asda, I ended up doing a lot of voluntary work with the refugee and asylum seekers in Derby. And as I tell lots of young people that I work with, the reason that I got my job, my qualifications got me the interview, but the qualifications do not get you the job. So when I was asked certain questions at the interview, I was able to answer the questions because I'd actually done what the questions asked, i.e. things like challenging discrimination. So, for me, I mean, the one thing that I would impress on anybody wanting to do youth and community work or to work in any job really is to, think about doing voluntary work. Don't think about it as being paid for doing nothing, because it isn't. You'll get a lot of experience out of it. You'll get a lot of situations out of it that you could probably talk about during an interview. And actually, you get a work-related reference. And this is what employers want nowadays. So I guess there wasn't a straightforward path to becoming a youth and community worker, and it wasn't actually my chosen sort of profession really. But again, like lots of people who do youth work, you sort of just fall into it.
I definitely did. I was going to be an actress. Yeah. Sometimes you still have to do a little bit of acting.
You do, yeah. I think acting's really important. I think sometimes the idea of like, letting our client sort of educate us and maybe acting like you don't know stuff and getting clients to tell us stuff and to educate us about things, and that's one of the great things about this job is that, I've learnt more from, the young people and clients that I've worked with than I've ever learnt on any training courses, to be honest, which is why it's really important if you're not in a job to actually go and do some voluntary work. In fact, that goes on to the next question about what are the most interesting parts about the work and the perks of the job. Any perks, Helen?
Meeting a huge variety of people with so many different skill sets and so many historical backgrounds. It's just wonderful to meet these people and to gain, like you said, knowledge from them, which in turn helps me become, I believe, a better person with more empathy and more understanding. And I think that's the perks of the knowledge that I gain from the people that I work with. Because as we say, we are youth and community workers, but we are working within a psychosis team. When I first joined, I knew nothing about psychosis at all. I've been with the team for 11 years now. I'm not an expert. Nobody can be an expert apart from the people that are going through the issues that they are going through.
I agree with that. Absolutely. Absolutely correct.
And it's a matter of listening and giving them space and time. Because we are fortunate with being youth and community workers, we can actually afford more time with the clients than some of the nurses do. We do have a slightly less caseload, but that's because we do a lot more open work. We in social work, we've also do groups, which I thoroughly enjoy. I will come on to that later when it comes to the dislike part. But yes, we do groups which engages the young people to understand us as well and get to know who we are. And we're the sort of people that ask them things like, Mark's favourite one, what's your favourite?
Oh, what's your favourite chocolate bar? Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't say bueno. If you're a fruit, what sort of fruit would you be? And if you're a car, what sort of car would be? It just breaks the ice and lets the people know that actually, people want to talk about mental health. That's absolutely fine. That is not primarily our role. Our role is to get to know you as people and get to know what sort of drives you and what are your motivations. And it's also just about finding out, thinking about a timeline perspective, what's happened to people and how they've ended up where they are. And try and get the bigger picture on the person, which is very often what we would get rather than maybe the nurse would, to be quite honest.
Yes, I agree.
So what are the challenges we face, Helen?
My challenges personally are with getting the nurses and the other medical professional people to understand what we do and what our role involves, which helps the young person that we're working with. Well, actually, it's not always young people, is it? We work with a cross section of ages now.
They're all young compared to me, Helen. So
yeah, you're mad. And that's a challenge for me to break through, because I often find myself having to repeat my role, especially when we have new staff members come into the service. But in ways that I do that, one-to-one discussions. I've also been on a thing called a Schwartz round, where people go and talk about to other members of all over the service about what their role is, what they've enjoyed, their difficulties. And also I ran a small drama group, and they did a piece for the nurses conference one year, And the nurses were amazed. They were so pleased that we had done that, because it opened their eyes to what people we're working with could achieve and who was helping them to evolve and to become confident. So yeah, that is one of my challenges, is trying to keep reiterating our role within this service, because there aren't many youth and community workers at all. Actually,
Okay.
youth and community professionals, I might add.
I guess some of the challenges for me, really, I guess, is keep looking at reports on things that are coming out about the way that community mental health services should run. I do a lot of reading around alternative perspectives. I'm involved in the spirituality department at the trust. I've done courses on compassion focused therapy. I'm a big advocate of talking about adverse childhood experiences. So within this role, although technically speaking, you could argue these aren't primarily youth work related sort of endeavors, actually, working within a medical profession has its challenges, but also, has some perks as well. And, I think generally we have quite an open team culture, and that, sometimes some of the nurses will come and ask you about things that are non-medical related. And myself and Ellen and Trey will talk about more like social, or, I will talk about political issues, and everything needs to be taken into context when we're talking about sort of mental health or mental well-being. And I think that's often lost on some professionals, really. But I guess that's why we're there, to provide that that alternative perspective.
Yes.
Essential qualities.
Listening. You've got to be able to listen.
Yeah.
And understand and have the empathy. You don't have to go through what they've gone through to be empathetic, but you have to understand, and also talk. Communication is a huge key for any role that you may go into. Good communication.
Yeah, I think the essential personal qualities, I think, are I would argue, having some life experience.
Yeah.
Possibly having some experience of mental health is generally seen as being a good thing. Although sometimes I guess you can over emphasize with people, and that's something you need to be careful of. That is a bit of a challenge, I guess. But it's about working with the skills and qualities that you've got. But also, when you see somebody, we don't talk about what's wrong with them. We say, what's been going on here, and immediately people will tell you what they can't do, and I'll say, look, I'm not really that worried about what you can't do, because there's loads of things I can't do. Let's focus on what you can do, because people with mental health issues, or people on benefits, or both, they will immediately go into this deficit model idea that they're a problem. Maybe they aren't the problem. Maybe the problem is society. Maybe the problem is a lack of understanding of certain diagnosis, or lack of empathy from different agencies that people have dealings with. And part of our role is to facilitate with these agencies and advocate for our clients at times. So I think, like Ellen says, a good listening ear, an ability to sort of think about what's been said or what's not been said, and some practical skills as well.
Yeah.
And is our career progressing, developing, or changing over time?
It will always change and develop. I'm not the same person as I was 11 years ago. I learned an awful lot more about mental health issues. I've been through a few myself. And I think that's something that I've learned as well, is to be able to share a little bit of yourself with the people we're working with, so that they can see that we are human. We're not just professionals. And in fact, being the role that we are in, a lot of people don't see us as professional, and I think that gives them the opportunity to open up a little bit more to us. Bear in mind, we are very professional. We do things very professionally, but we do give a little bit of ourselves to that person to help them and encourage them to open up.
Yeah.
As far as progression, it's made me consider going into more of a counselling side of it. So eventually, I would like to probably train as a counsellor at some degree. I've also been trying to get some training within the sexual health, because I have done parts of sexual health within the youth service, and I've had a refresher with the services in the trust. But that's a little bit of a way to go to try and make things. I've got to put a good case about that to my manager. But yeah, I will press an everyday action, because you learn a lot of different things daily.
I agree. You're constantly learning from clients. You're constantly learning, being given fresh perspectives by clients, alternative theories about, contemporary society. And, if you're not learning from our clients, then, why are you in the job? It's a continual education. And as Helen says, sexual health is like one of the things that we get asked to deal with. And obviously some nurses, don't have the background in that, or feel a bit uncomfortable with it. But, yeah, that is one of our things. That is a prime youth worker role, actually. Okay. The end is near. Oh, right. Yes, that is one of the conversations we have with some of our clients, actually, about what's going on at the moment. So yeah, you've got to do your work. You've got to do your research as well. You've got to have an understanding of what's going on in the world. And, I really enjoy that aspect of it, and having discussions around interesting ideas about, how the world operates. So it's helped me to look at a lot of philosophy. It's helped me to, read quite a lot of think tank reports about what a good health service looks like. And actually, myself, we as youth workers, we do have access to, like, our chief exec and deputy chief exec, and they're very supportive of us. And the guys at the top seem to understand what our role is. We're a bit different. We're a bit niche. We sometimes say things that maybe people don't quite understand. Maybe you have to clarify it. But we come from a different perspective. We are not the medical model. We are the social model.
And what I would like to add before we have to go is that there may not be many jobs with a youth worker title. However, you can use your they are transferable skills. So if you want to go down the youth working type role, don't just look for youth work, look for things that have got the skills that you can progress with.
Yes.
And also just have fun. When I was going through my MVQ training, Sue Kent, she was absolutely fantastic team leader. When we were doing the form filling, she says, what do you put down? Everybody was putting lots of things down, and she says, fun. The main thing is have fun and enjoy and learn. But I wish you all the very best. I am going to have to go, because unfortunately I've got another meeting to go to. But have fun, take care, do some voluntary. You will gain so much by doing voluntary stuff. But like I say, have fun, take care, and all the best with you.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's a cut. It's a cut. Any problems, any questions, or anything you want to know about? I'm sure that the guys will give you our contact details. Any other advice? That's absolutely fine. Just let us know. Okay. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.